Hello Commanders, welcome to the command table. My name is Matt and I'm going to be taking you through battles 471 through 475 in the journey in Traplight's Battle Legion. Before we get to that, if you'd please be so kind as to like, subscribe, and if you want notifications when I drop new videos, be sure to hit that notification bell. Also, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those below. Okay, battle 471. Okay, so for this one, we have a Death Knight, a group of Warhounds, one little group there, 5 groups of Plague Bearers, 3 groups of Shield Bearers, 4 groups of Archers, and an Assassin. So we're going to do a nifty little trick where, since bomb bots have the exact same run speed as Assassins, we're going to place this just below where the Assassins are going to spawn, and that's going to force them to kind of run down and all group up to where they'll all be a tight little group, and then as the bomb bot runs forward, they'll chase that bomb bot until the bomb bot explodes on some Plague Bearers, catching the Assassins in the blast. So for that 1 point, we're going to get the 2 points of Assassins and maybe another point or so of Plague Bearers. So 3 points for one, that's not a bad trade. We've got the Assassins here to work on that Death Knight, and then we've got our Monster Hunter here who's going to be able to take all the damage from those ranged units. It's just going to mitigate all of it. We have a Valkyrie and a Druid hidden behind our artifact panel here. The Druid is to cleanse the plague off of the Monster Hunter intermittently. And then we've got our Ember Fiend here to do splash burn damage to take everything out. Let's go ahead and let it run. Okay, watch those Assassins chase that bomb. See how they've got a nice little group there, and then poof. So we got at least a full group of Plague Bearers between those two groups there. You'll notice the Monster Hunter does get Plague every so often, but once we get through all those Plague Bearers, the Druid will cleanse it for the final time, and then it's clear sailing from there for that Monster Hunter to just go over and clean up all those Archers. The Ember Fiend's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here by applying burn and doing percentage-based damage to all those Plague Bearers. Okay, so now we've got a totally healthy Monster Hunter that won't take any damage at all from these Archers, so it's all just a matter of cleanup at this point. I had the entangling roots there as well. I didn't mention that, but they are there. It helps to keep everything from arriving to the Monster Hunter all at once. Alright, 472. Don't blink or you'll miss this one. We've got 3 groups of Archers, 2 Monster Hunters, 2 Paladins, and 2 groups of Eternal Champions. We're just going to blow it all up and then kill all the Archers from behind. Enough said. Here goes. Poof, poof, and good night, sunshine. That one doesn't need much more explanation than that. It's pretty straightforward. Alright, let's move on to 473. Okay, so for this one we have 2 ancient trees, a giant toad, 3 earth elementals, and then 4 groups of fire knights. So a lot of fire in there, so we're going to use our fire immune tank. The only other tanky unit that's like that is the molten armor, and it's just not healable unless you're using artifacts, and I've kind of gone out of my way to not use artifacts for these tutorials, for these walkthroughs. Okay, we've got not Ember Fiend. We have a Draining Spirit here that's going to chip away at the health of all the units in its radius. That's going to be particularly nice once these Earth Elementals pop, because the splits burn down pretty quickly to a Draining Spirit. We tried something different here. I wanted to use the Soul Pylon. You could probably switch that out for a couple of Crystal Spires once you see how this works. The Crystal Spires would probably be more optimal. We have a Valkyrie here to keep the Earth Elemental sustained through this whole mess, and you just have to make sure that the Archers are further away than the Earth Elemental so that it heals the Earth Elemental. Then we have the 3 groups of Archers to help burn through the first phases of the Earth Elementals and the Giant Toad, and then just in case for the end to take out those ancient trees from range. So here comes everything. We've got some entangling roots that kind of keep everything from getting behind the Earth Elemental. which is very helpful. If those roots weren't there, they'd wrap around, and then the Earth Elemental would knock some of those units back into my Soul Pylon and my Valkyrie. So we didn't want that to happen. The Soul Pylon does pretty well initially, as you can see, but I think some Crystal Spires would have been better. Unfortunately, I can't go back and do this. I think it was my own Draining Spirit that got knocked back into that. I'm not sure what happened to that Draining Spirit. It just kind of wandered off and disappeared. So I'm not sure what that was all about. The nice thing about the Earth Elemental, if you do have Draining Spirits attached to it, is when you hit Frenzy, if it does burn through the Earth Elemental and make it pop, then the Draining Spirit usually disappears and you have the second phase of the Earth Elemental to continue moving forward for you. Alright, battle 474. Okay, this one's pretty straightforward. Anytime you see a battle wagon, you just plunk some mine shrooms in front of it, and that's going to send it right back to its own back wall, marching through all its troops, and then you've got a 3-point mythic unit coming back at them from behind. What I've decided to do is use these assassins to take out this monster hunter. We're just going to delete that from the equation, so all we have left is just a bunch of common units. The Plague Bearers down at the bottom, we're not going to have to worry too much about the Hammer Throwers because they're going to be preoccupied with that Battle Wagon. So the Plague Bearers, we've got our Paladin down here with some nice mini swarm units here. We've got the Warhounds and the Dire Wolves with a Battle Drummer and a Paladin to keep them all sustained. So the Paladin's going to keep the Plague off of everything, and we're going to be able to burn through this whole bottom end, and by then the Battle Wagon and my mini swarm here are going to be converging on all these Hammer Throwers and that Death Knight. So let's claim that Battle Wagon and kill that monster hunter. Okay, that's 6-point swing for me. And now the Death Knight does have an anti-healing aura, but it was kind of ping-ponging back and forth between which way it ought to go, and didn't really get much use out of that anti-healing aura. So that was handy. Okay, 475, and then we'll call it for this video. Okay, for this one we have 5 groups of Wraiths. We've got 2 Death Knights, 2 Battle Drummers, 3 Crystal Spires, 2 groups of Thorn Guards, and 1 group of Warhounds. I'm not sure why we just keep getting one random group of Warhounds in these. Since everything's kind of right up here on this front line, I tagged on these 3 Draining Spirits. So they're going to have something to hold on to right when the battle starts. And I've kind of tagged them kind of to the top and the bottom of those Thorn Guards so that I get the full coverage of as much of that front line as possible. That's going to eat through these Warhounds. It's going to reveal all these Wraiths. And I'm not going to have anything in range of the Crystal Spires that they can target. So they're going to be just sitting there doing nothing while everything dies to the Draining Spirits. In the back here, I've got these Risen Warriors. I think this one here has slow Power Stone. So these first 2, they'll kind of rush in, and then that one will kind of linger, getting late to the party, which will be helpful because those Draining Spirits will need more time to work. And we want units with health to keep the attention focused on this back end as long as possible. Once that happens, everything's going to be running back this way, and then once they kill all that, they're going to run back to the Entangling Roots, and they're going to be allowing the Ember Fiend and the Arcane Archer to kill them at their leisure. So here goes. Okay, all 3 Draining Spirits kill almost all of the Warhounds. Those Wraiths take less damage because they're Chaos units, but they still take ample damage to get the job done. All the Draining Spirits are working their way back, and now we've got the entire clump of units marching through those Entangling Roots, getting burned by the Ember Fiend and clipped off whatever's closest by the Arcane Archer. You see a few units get a little too close for comfort, so this build may fail from time to time, but if you just run it a couple times, the RNG will eventually work in your favor. And then Crystal Spires go down without any trouble. Alright, thank you for watching. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Please do like and subscribe. And also you can check out thecommandtable.com. We've got lots of fun stuff that we'll be adding there over time, and Again, I appreciate you supporting the channel. We'll have some more content for you soon.